shark because guess what? The Valley is coming. Jax. And Jax already just did a post, thank you to like this is Jax's show. I think it's actually going to have a producer credit. He said, thank you, Alex Baskin, who's Beverly Hills and Vanderpump, for taking that meeting with me on a rainy night. You got to go check Jax's. And I watch Instagram and I watch an extended trailer. I don't know. It could be okay, this Valley, but I feel like, you know what, Sarah, if you think that jumps the shark, then the whole Valley is this. I mean, you might as well have Scheana. Listen, Scheana should be doing double duty on the Valley, to be honest with you. She should be on both shows. That would be great casting. No, I don't mind seeing this. I don't ever need to see Brock in a little pink string Speedo. See, he's not. I mean, I'm about as attracted to him as I am to Travis Kelce. Neither. They're both too like big. They're like, he's like a guy. Brock. I don't know.
You don't like that? Oh my God.
No. You like that?
Throw you around in the bedroom, baby. Oh my Lord. They'd be picking Miss Yontif up, carrying her from bed to bed. I mean,
you know who could pick me up and throw me from bed to bed is a 37-year-old Kristen Cavallari's 24-year-old new. Oh my God. Did you see her new boyfriend?
I know. And see, like I'm not interested in him at
all. Oh, he can throw me around.
To me, a 24-year-old is great for a night, but there is no way. I mean, what did she possibly have in common with him aside from great sex? It's just so, I don't know.
And she said Tyler Cameron from The Bachelor. This was like an old interview with her. I mean, honey, Laguna Beach in the hills. I mean, move over, housewives. These are the real ones. Kristen did an interview like a couple months ago where she said, or I think it was on her podcast, where she said the hottest guy just physically she was ever with is Tyler Cameron from The Bachelor. Well, guess what? I think Tyler has been replaced because I think this one is even hotter. Go on.
Well, I like Brock and Scheana, and I do think they're aging with their audience. I think a lot of the VPR audience has children, so can relate to the nanny discussion. Scheana is very. I'm with Scheana actually. I would not leave my child. We have an awesome nanny, and I actually found her at a LA playground because I always want to observe people when they don't think anyone's watching.
Oh.
So I was like, I'm going to find my nanny here in LA because I'm just going to go to playgrounds. I'm going to sit. And when I see like a nice nanny, someone that's kind to the kids that doesn't think I'm paying attention, I'm going to say to her, do you know anyone that's looking for some extra help, or can you recommend anyone? Anyhow, I did that. And one day there was a woman, she was sitting with a little boy, and the little boy was hanging on her the whole hour and a half that we were there. And he was just so sweet. And she was so patient with him. He wouldn't go socialize. Anyway, I just said, oh, do you know anyone? And she said, well, actually, I'm looking for a couple extra days. We were off to the races. She's been the greatest nanny. I would trust her to take my son overnight 100%.
Did you steal someone's nanny at the playground?
Well, yes, I ended up stealing. Okay. At first we co-shared, and then the other family dropped off, and now we basically have the woman full time. Honey, I get what I want. So
I can see this.
I get that. I get Brock's perspective because my husband is more like that, and then I get hers. When you're a mother, I mean, you are such a mama bear, and I'm with her. Just leave her daughter with the mom. They need to find a nanny during the day, someone that they trust during the day that can, take their daughter. But I liked that discussion a lot. I think he's so hot. And he seems like above everything a little bit. Like he doesn't give a shit about, he's cool with Sandoval. He's cool with people. I like Brock.
I find James the hottest, and I find Sandy a close second. And I would definitely bag Schwartz, sure. I mean, it would probably be a lazy fucking lay. I mean, you'd be like, dude, wake up. But I would bag Schwartz too. But you and Brock, I wish you guys the best of luck. Well, what was I gonna say? Allie has Graham Cracker. You really see a sense of this whole episode. I really feel is about Graham Cracker, but Allie is just like, I have this Raquel. I mean, she's still here with us, guys. Graham is here, and I mean, I love when she's like, if Raquel can have a new name, so can Graham. So we have Hippie Kennedy.
Hippie Kennedy. Yeah, that was good. I liked how they head off to Tahoe. Obviously, Katie and Ariana are not going.
Boo-hoo.
What did you make? Tom Sandoval breaks down in the car with Schwartzy. and he just is so overwhelmed with the kindness of them just even showing up and being somewhat happy to be with him. I don't know. I have sympathy for Tom Sandoval, right? I go back and forth. One day I think he's a douche. The next I'm like, oh, I feel for the guy. This is his only life he's ever known on TV.
I mean, I see it both ways. I see it, and then you're just like, oh God. Like I could see it the other way. All the people that are like, oh my God, like this one is just, this is the performance of a lifetime. Like, could we see this being the
Really?
performance of a little bit? I mean, Tom is, crying and this and that. Tom is just so out to lunch, though, in a lot of ways. Like that last scene with James where he's like, man, like, what did you want from me? And like the nail polish. And I'm just like, look, I mean, it's a hard job to be so hated. I mean, trust me, I know, but it's a hard job. But it is a brand, and it just I think Tom is just having a yeah. I mean, I felt for the guy, and I love when Schwartz is like, "Let it out, man, let it out."
I
Mind you, okay, go on.
No, I have sympathy for him. I think, and did you read the New York Times article about Sandoval?
Which one that he's the most hated man? That
Yes, the
one, the
long
one
one,
where he stuck his foot in his mouth and compared himself to Floyd, the one of
George Floyd
that
and
same one.
OJ.
Yeah, I did.
Well, I
What'd you
thought
think?
that, well, I just think it shows you somebody who there's a disconnect because they've been on TV and it's so rare for a show to last as long as it has, you know? I mean, it really is so rare. They've been on TV so long. I mean, there's a warp, there's a warp. And I think he is genuinely sorry about what happened, and we see this thread that we saw on episode 5 of him, reaching out to Rachel, just saying, I heard you're out of the facility. Are you? I mean, there does seem to be some sincerity with him. Now, I know it's a varying degree for people. It's hard to read, but I thought last night he seemed genuinely hurt, touched, was just happy that some of his old friends were willing to even go to Tahoe with him in this beautiful, house. And
That scene where he's like, and I was at the airport and I was 20 feet away, and Scheana looked up and said, "Hey." I mean, this guy is willing to just take scraps. He is just willing to take scraps. And I'm sorry, the funniest one of the whole damn episode is James, where he's like, come on now. Like, let's not go for a walk in the park. Come on now, Tom. Like, I just got here. And like, James is hurt. But you know what I did think is like, I do think at the end, where he says it a few times and he's like, or like towards the end where he's like, nothing we did was malicious. I mean, okay, granted, what you did is like kind of the biggest act of betrayal possible. But he's like, nothing we did had malicious intent. And he's like, every single person in this group had malicious intent. They sold merch. They went on podcasts. They sold more merch. They went on
I
more.
like that
He's like,
moment.
yeah. So he's like, they had conspiracy theories. So he's like, there was like malicious intent. Like, look, I give Tom a lot of